All right, we continue with the fashion trends. We are now going to turn our attention to a talk called Laugesen X Metasens, from microbiology to couture, to reconstructing Phygital fashion in the metaverse. Please put your hands together for the talented designer, Jens Laugesen.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long day, but thank you for staying and watching all these amazing things in between the physical and the digital. I'm here to tell you a little journey of my own. I'm a fashion designer, and I started to work in fashion when I was 20. And have a journey to kind of share with you that is not necessarily in the right order, I can see. So Metasens is really a brand that I launched during the pandemic, where I wanted to explore what physical fashion and digital fashion could be together. So I reached out to like a group of digital artists from around the world, and we collaborated on what you can see on the films. It became like Metaverse galleries with virtual tours in Hong Kong and digital artists. And it's really a way for me to see how you can connect the physical world to the digital world, because I think in these times, post-pandemic, people want to connect again, they want to be in the physical world, but we have all understood that the digital is really a positive space to see where we can connect, do business, and create new experiences. And this is really what I think this Phygital is about. What you've seen today, lots of examples of fashion that has both physical and digital elements. And as time goes on, we will see more and more of this. This is a project that didn't last long on Fashion Week also, where you can again see the physical catwalk in a space that was sponsored by The Row, which is an amazing building. And I like to explore how these garments can both be physical and digital and connect to different audiences and show different aspects of the process of the design thinking. I also collaborated with an interoperability metaverse operator called Style Protocol. They're based in Berlin, and they introduced me to Visions, a new AR app, and we explored how we could take these digital garments that have been developed in collaborations with the designers and transpose them into the metaverse. So it's actually an app that you can download and experience these sculptures, and you can go from one sculpture to the next and see all these kind of interactions and interchangeable surfaces. And it takes a lot of time to develop these things. So it comes from the design thinking that I have always developed for the last 25 years. Basically, I've always fallen in love with the idea of the glitch and how technology can enhance the experience of the physical. And I think this is really what it's all about, to be able to explore the physical and the digital in the same space and be able to experience new versions of a brand in this new metaverse. Here you see, for instance, galleries that I did in collaboration with Metaverse Fashion Council, which is also the institution that collaborates with Blockdown Festival this time, who invited us all as designers to come and showcase our work. And they showcase the different gallery spaces that I developed in collaboration with 5 different artists. That was Andrea Dorning, Jessica James, Diane Wallinger, Louise Betancourt, and Oscar Keane. And it's really amazing how you can collaborate across like oceans, continents, and on Zoom to collaborate and do these digital things together in a new way of working. So this is just as a case study to see how far we can build this brand. I launched it a year ago. I've done 2 exhibitions in London Fashion Week, and this is kind of what is going to happen. And I've collaborated with like lots of really important brands and institutions around the world to launch this project to a wider audience. And I think collaboration with institutions is really important when you launch a brand to the bigger audience. And so I'm like a designer who connects creativity with science. Initially, I was supposed to study microbiology in high school, but then I decided fashion was my field. And I feel this kind of engineering with creativity is really the mixture of the two, where we can build new worlds and create new experiences for brands. So this is what I've been working on for London Fashion Week, the event that was going to be presented in last London Fashion Week, where we've been looking for partners and exploring how we can bring wider physical experiences to a wider audience. this is kind of what I'm looking for also at this moment. I'm building my next London Fashion Week experience with a new catwalk and experience, a Phygital experience, where we will be able to connect to audiences from around the world. Okay. So the partners that will collaborate with me will of course be included in the London Fashion Week event. I'm looking for tech partners, creative partners, digital partners. I'm also exploring how AI can be part of the new way of working as a creative. And I truly believe that AI is the new frontier of how we can expose creativity to technology, not just as replacing creativity, but actually to be a tool for creativity. And this is really us who has to be in the driver's seat of this experience, so we can really understand what it is we are trying to explore. And again, you can see this is kind of examples from my fashion shows combined with the use of Clothes 3D, exploring how you can really disrupt the technology and use that as a tool for design thinking. So through my career, I have also been a consultant. I work with many corporate brands around the world. I have more than 25 plus years of experience in the fashion world, and started my career in Paris in the 2000s when I graduated in couture design. I've since had my own brand in London Fashion Week from 2002 to 2008, and I've collaborated with corporate brands around the world, including Calvin Klein, LG Corporation in Korea as creative director, and a wide range of media brands from ID, Days Confused, and similar, to a lot of luxury groups. And I think this is really where we are today, at the intersection of technology, science, luxury, and sportswear, to see how we can fuse a new world of in-between products, experiences, audiences, and metaverse alignments that will really be the future of brand building. And I think this is what we really have to look into. How can we disrupt the way brands normally are being built, being launched, and how can we create something new and sustainable that really has like meaning to people, not just in local proximity where people are attending fashion shows like you guys are, but how can these things also be exposed to a wider audience around the world through digital platforms, metaverses, AI experiences, VR experiences. And of course, we're at the beginning of a business that's not really a business yet. People talk about if Web3 is there. I don't think that's all it is. But we have an evolution of Web 2.2, 3, 4, and 5. And today we're really at the place where it is about educating the general public, the audiences, for getting them into a positive experience of these possibilities of future brand expansions and collaborations. So they get into the Web3 domain without actually really realizing that they have been onboarding the Web3. Okay. So through my career, I've also had like a long list of press and been able to collaborate with really high-profile press. And for me, luxury is something that really has significance in our lives. It's really what makes design and art and technology fused together. And luxury takes time, you know, fashion demands artisan heritage that you can be creative with. And it's really important that you explore how the physical and the digital can merge into digital experiences. So for the story behind this film, so I'm also a film director, and I like to work with video film as fashion media, since I was lucky to collaborate with Nick Knight back in 2006. So if you don't know of Nick Knight, he's a quite world-famous fashion photographer who was the first to bring fashion film to the websites in 2000. So he created Show Studio, which is a groundbreaking platform for fashion film as a media, so really bringing something that was in the physical world into the digital world before everybody else. And by exploring the fashion video as a media, I realized that this is a new way of showing fashion. You can of course see a traditional fashion shows, you can wear fashion, but once you see it through the media of fashion video, it is really a new media. And during the collaboration, I discovered the glitch, which is really something that I think is interesting, because the glitch is basically the technology that deconstructs an image and creates new images. And I like the way the technology can enhance the creative process and build something new and meaningful to a wider audience. So this is a project I did a year ago in London Fashion Week. It was a physical project where I looked into how we could explore genderless clothing. So I took a collection of existing garments, upcycling them, reconstructing them into like new design thinking, and I created this film inside the building that was next to the where I was living during the pandemic. And the story is actually that during the pandemic, they had been like reconstructing the building. I'd been listening to the jackhammer for 15 months, basically, and because of that, they were really kind to lend me the space before it was finished to do this exploration of my brand. This is another project I did during London Fashion Week, during the pandemic. I was revisiting my archives of design that's 20 years old, and we invited club kids from East London to come and try on the clothes just at the end of the pandemic in London, you know, and they hadn't been out to clubbing for like a year and a half. And we invited them to dance in the corner of the studio in front of the two mirrors. And it was really interesting to see how they explored the designs from my heritage that's 20 years old and brought it into the new world. And you can see how I really like to work with the glitch as a media and as art form. And I think this is what is really important in the digital space, that we embrace technology to create something new, innovative, advanced. And maybe that's why I have been casting myself into the metaverse, because with my background of fashion design, traditional design, having initially an interest in science, because I was supposed to study microbiology, I am at this intersection between technology and creativity and able to collaborate with brands and bring new design thinking and processes into the existing work methods. This is again a project I did like some years ago, also again with the video as a media. And past collections I did when I came back in London Fashion Week in 2018. And also collaborated with Daphne Guinness, who is a very famous style icon, who has brought her avatar style into the fashion world and brought many people to the world. So my career started actually in London in 2002 to 2008 when I was awarded the Andam Award and winning fashion awards in London Fashion Week. And this is example of my work when it was exhibited at the Louvre in Paris during Paris Fashion Week, because I won the LVMH award of the Andam Award, which is the most prestigious award in Paris Fashion Week. And it brought together like a lot of collaborations and positive thinking that I could really see in the new world. I've also done a collaboration with Linda Farrar Vintage, which is a luxury brand. And you can maybe see in the collections I presented earlier that there's this idea of the genderless, effortless clothing that's in between. I like tailoring to be for all genders, women and men. I don't think garments needs to be like gender specific as such, but of course, by culture, we have decided that certain categories of clothing is more like to one gender than the other. But when I was collaborating with Linda Farrar, for instance, I like to look into the heritage of the brand, which is this kind of glamorous 1970s sunglass, and morph it together with like the aviator. So it's kind of that mixture of the binary system that often is separated in the world. But I think with this metaverse we're trying to create all together, you know, it's a great festival here. We have a lot of people from like the crypto, the tech, the Web3, digital fashion and luxury industry, and I think it's really a place where we can collaborate, create new products in between processes and experiences that is really positive for the audiences. Another show I did in London Fashion Week in the Danish Embassy, going back in time, that was basically also playing with the neon lights and the use of technology. It was in the architecture of Arne Jacobsen, a quite famous Danish designer, architect. I'm also a designer myself, and I come from Denmark. And instead of showing it inside the beautiful space, I actually showed it in the basement of the building, taking things into the underbelly of the institution and bringing something from the inside to the outside. And maybe this is what my thinking about technology is. How can we work with technology, with crypto, with Web3, blockchain, disrupt the system and create new methodologies and new systems and innovate in a way so we are here to change the world. So with this note, I want to thank you all for listening to my story of my last 20 years in fashion. And of course, if there is any companies, partners, tech, crypto, who would like to collaborate for coming London Fashion Week, would be amazing, because I have like already an on-schedule slot, and I'm looking for partnership collaboration and also looking for funding for my brand. So thank you guys for listening.